that every customer judges a business by its delivery, not by its intention. So what that means invariably is that as a business owner or as an individual that offers services, you can't say, oh, you know what, this is what I have in mind. Once I have my customer and they come in to buy my product or my services, this is how I'll treat them. That is what we call wishful thinking. You are only thinking it in your head. You have not put actions in place to ensure that all that you have thought in your head becomes a reality. So it is only when you take actions, that is when a customer will judge those actions. Customers will not judge your intention that, oh, I want to start a business. I want to start a real estate business. That's what I want to do. Everybody will see you as someone that wants to start a real estate business, not somebody that is into the real estate business. So customers will judge you by your actions. Customers will judge you by your delivery, not by your intention, not by your wishes. And I'll give you a typical example. You can wish that, oh, you want to have money, you are going to be a billionaire, you want to be a billionaire in dollars, you want to build houses. But until you start putting in the work, until you start putting things in place to ensure that that dream that you have, that wish that you have, becomes a reality. So operational excellence matters because customer judges a business by delivery, not by the intention. Another reason why operational excellence matters in business, especially in the real estate industry, and so to say, in any business that you find yourself, inefficient operations quietly erode margins and morale, meaning that every customer, no customer wants to say, oh, I understand the reason you are not efficient. Okay, I understand your inadequacies. And I'll give you a typical example. You walk into an office, there is what we call minimum standard. There's what we call minimum expectation, right? So how you want them to address you, how you want them to attend to you, there is something that is unspoken about it. You walk into an office, ideally you expect the receptionist or the customer care person or whoever that's going to attend to you with a beam of smile, courteous and respectful. That is what every customer expects. But when a customer walks into our office and you don't greet, you don't show empathy, you don't show concern, you don't show that connection that, oh, this person has walked up to us, either they want to buy something or they want to do something, the customer will look at you. You do it the first time, the second time, the customer will then know that, oh, this is what these people are meant for. Let me seek help somewhere. During the previous classes, we've talked about the fact that there's no business that does not have competitors. There's no monopoly of any business. So when you have that in mind, how you then treat your customers really do matter, right? Another reason why operational excellence matters in business is that inconsistent fulfillment damages trust faster than it can rebuild it. So somebody comes in today, you were neither here nor there. The same person comes in tomorrow, you are neither here nor there. The person is not going to say, oh, maybe it's your mood today, or maybe something happened to you today. When it comes to business is an entity of its own, and how you relate with customers matters. How you relate with customers will determine if they will come back to patronize you. During the previous classes, we've also talked about the fact that there's no transaction that is complete without another transaction. So when you are dealing with a customer or when you are dealing with a client, we've also talked about the difference between the client and a customer. So when you're dealing with a customer or a client, your goal should not be, oh, I've satisfied that customer, I've done my best. The only time you should say you've done your best is when that customer brings in another customer to you and say, oh, because of the way you attended to me, because of your customer delivery, because of your operational excellence, I want to refer you to someone. Are we together? Also, another reason why operational excellence matters in business is that high-performing business scale through systems, not heroics. So no matter the system that is in place, the moment you are consistent, there is a likelihood that you are going to scale through hiccups. When we now say, oh, why does operational excellence matter? The fundamental question we should ask is this: what exactly is operational excellence? You know, if we cast our mind back, I think primary, secondary school, and when we have our question, you know, when a teacher set the question for us and we answer the questions, and we score like maybe 18 over 20 or 20 over 20, they will mark it and say excellent. Then if you score like, you know, 12 to 15, they will say very good, right? Then if you score like 10 or 11, they say good. If you score 10, they say average. Then if you score 7, they say poor. If you score something like 4 or 5 over 20, they say very poor. So everything has its grades. The same thing in business. But when we say operational excellence, it means you are operating at a level. It means you are operating at a level that is compared to none. So talking about operational excellence, yeah, it's not about doing more, really. It's not about overdoing. It's not about the hard work. It's about the smart work. It's about consistently delivering the right outcome. It's about doing things the right way. It's about doing things the right way with the least waste. How wasteful are you? And let me give you a typical example. You come to work on a Monday. You're supposed to be at work either from 8 to 5 and from 9 to 5. You ask yourself, now I'm at work, what do I want to achieve? Am I at work because I just want to clock in that I'm at work? Or I'm at work because I want to add value to myself? I want to learn on the job. While I'm learning on the job, I want to learn skills. There are so many skills on the internet that you can learn from that can upskill and upsell you. So operational excellence is not about doing over doing. You know, the Gen Zs, we say overdoing the doings. So it's not about doing more. It's the consistent delivery of the right outcome, doing things the right way with the least waste. I see a lot of us being wasteful. And when we talk about waste, right? What are those days when people say, oh, don't waste food, don't waste water, oh, don't waste this? Right now, for me as a digital strategist, I'm more about don't waste my time, because time is valuable. Time is one thing that you cannot rewind. Time is one thing that you cannot unwind. So what are you doing? What are you doing with your time? Are you wasting your time, or you are making the best use of your time? Also, talking about operational excellence, right? Operational excellence is measured, not assumed. You know, you can't just assume that, okay, I came to work today now, I've left my house, I spent 500 naira on transport. In the evening, I spent 1,000. That's operational excellence. No, it's not about all those other things that you have done before getting to work. It's about what you did at work, what is being measured. Are we together? Also, operational excellence is about being proactive and not reactive. During the last time I was with you physically, we talked about customer experience and customer support. And we said customer experience is proactive, while customer support is, reactive. Meaning that for you to give your customers a good customer experience, it means you have sat down, looked at the entire journey map of your customer, looked across all the touch points, and you have told yourself, okay, when they get to this touch point, there is a bottleneck here. Why should they spend 5 minutes for this person to attend to them? No, let's do it this way so that it can be seamless. When they get to that place, they will need to make payment. These are the things that will happen. Curing all the problem anticipating the risk ahead and mitigating against that risk. That is what we mean when we say you have to be proactive. But on the other way, you are reactional, meaning that you are waiting for them to have a problem, then you will solve that problem. But in the true sense, you can prevent them from having those problems. That is what we mean when we say, when we talk about operational excellence, it's about being proactive and not reactive. Also, it's about being sustainable. That's sustenance, not a one-time push. You know, I see people tell me things like, hey, Mr. Denka, you are saying that I'm not trying. What about that day that, what about all that work that I did that day? Operational excellence is not about one day work. It's about what you do consistently. And I'll give you a typical example, right? You are in school, you are studying, and it's not one day job that will give you that excellent mark that I said between 18 to 20. It's not a day job. It's something that you have consistently put in your effort to do. So it's not a one-off thing. It's about sustainability. How are you able to sustain an action? How are you able to sustain your excellence? How are you able to sustain your delivery to your clients and your customers? And when we say customer fulfillment, right, there's a little bit of difference between customer fulfillment and customer satisfaction. For the purpose of today's training, let's talk about customer fulfillment. What is that journey like? You know, for you to say you want to fulfill something, something has preceded that. It means there is a promise. So if I promise you now that, okay, at the end of this class, I'm going to give everybody 10,000 naira. That promise comes first. Then I will now go and fulfill that promise later. So the truth is this, as a company, as an individual, or as a brand, when you promise your customers something, what are the systems you put in place to ensure that you fulfill that promise? So what is the customer fulfillment journey? Because excellence must show up at every stage, not just at the delivery. And I will again put that into context. You see some people tell you, oh, when I got to the last stage of where I will pay, the person that was attending to me was nice, but all the other people, they were not nice. That person cannot have a fulfillment journey across because at several touch points, the person already had a bad experience. So what is a customer fulfillment journey? The very first thing is promise. What is your brand promise? Remember, we've also talked about image, we've talked about identity, and we've talked about character, right? So the very first thing in that fulfillment journey is promise. When you now promise something, the next thing you need to do is plan. Plan on how to deliver on those promises. Are those promises workable? Are they doable? Are they realistic? And for the time being that you make those promises, are you going to be able to deliver on those promises across the customer fulfillment journey? So like we said, the very first thing is you promise. The second one is you plan. Then the third one is you execute. Execute on those promises that you have made across all touch points so that customers can have a good experience, so that customers' expectation will not only be met, but will be surpassed. And after the execution, what follows? You deliver. You see, people will say, especially in the real estate industry, oh, this is not what you promise. You promise this, you are delivering this. Everything must align. When you promise A, when you promise capital letter A, you must deliver capital letter A. You can't deliver capital letter B and expect that customers will have a good experience. So the first one is you promise, you plan, execute, deliver, and then you review. Review is something that is important, not even only in business, even in your personal life as an individual. Review yourself. understudy and underscore yourself. Ask yourself something. How was I yesterday? How was I last month? How was I last year? Is there any changes? If I was making 10,000 naira on a monthly basis last month, or let's say the beginning of, let's say first quarter, how much am I making now? Will I continue to make this 10,000? Is there growth or not? So review the system you have put in place in your business. You can also review yourself. You see, I tell my children something that as an individual, you are your competitor. You only compete with who you were yesterday. But in business, you have competitors. Underscore and understudy your competitors. But when it comes to your personal self, when it comes to your personal branding, ask yourself, who was I last year? And who am I this year? Next year, what am I projecting? 5 years to come, what am I projecting? Are we together? But the truth is this, because I like to put things in proper perspective, and I also like to let you know that operational excellence is not something that I can just say is easy. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of diligence. And it takes a lot of effort. There must be processes in place, and there must be people to ensure that it works. You see, there's no business that can sustain itself without people. Right? There is no business that can sustain itself without process. Now, let's now put the two side by side, the process gaps and the people gap. Because the truth is, most breakdowns trace back to one of these two sources. Any business that is doing well, it means the two align and the two are working well. Any business that also is not doing well, it means there is a gap either in the process or in the people, or the two of them are not aligning. So let's talk about the process gaps and the people gap. When it comes to process gap, unclear steps to ownership. Let me give a typical example. An average employee has a mindset of, it's not my company. It's not my own. It's not my company. I say something all the time, and I'll repeat it again. How you do other people's work, that's exactly how you do your own work. You see, a lot of people think, oh, it's just rhetoric. But I can tell you from a personal experience that the diligence with which you are using to do other people's work, one day when your own work will fall on your laps, it is with that same dexterity, that same diligence. That is how you do your work. So when you are full of complaints, when you are full of, errors while doing other people's work, you are not taking ownership. Oh, I can't do this, it's not my own. Let me fetch that water. Oh, no, I can't do it, I'm not the one using it. Let me carry that back. I can't use it, I'm not the one using it. There's something I say. It is only in giving that is when you can receive. It works across several, layers of life, even in your spiritual life and in your personal life. It is only when you give that is when you receive. When you give your time, someone also will put in or invest their time in you to ensure that you grow. When you give in your skill, when you give in your effort, when you give in your all, you realize that everything also works well for you, right? Another process gap is manual work that should be systematized, right? I understand that in this era of technology, a lot of companies, a lot of individuals are still finding it very hard to adapt. But my people, you can start from somewhere. Starting from somewhere is acknowledging the fact that there is a need to move. There is a need for that digital transformation. Are we together? Also, another process gap is no way to track progress or delays. Also, reward caused by unclear handoffs. But let me talk about the people gap. Let me talk about the people gap, and I need your attention, right? The very first people gap here is unclear expectations and accountability. Another one here is low morale from constant firefighting. Another one is communication breakdown between teams. You see, when it comes to teams, there's something I say all the time. You reflect on your team, your excellence, your own work ethics reflect on your team. And I say this all the time, right, to team members. How are you able to put your team together and say, you know what? Because I'm your team member does not mean I can be wrong. But when I'm wrong in something, don't see it as, oh, Mr. Denka cannot make mistakes. Call me and say, Mr. Denka, I think this thing that you said we should do, I think there is an error. Let's look at it. Be accountable. And when there are ways where you can come together as a team, you see, especially in the real estate world, I've said it several times that you can't be a lone champion. You have to work with people, learn with people, let people mentor you, let people coach you, let people tell you the mistakes that they made so that you don't make those mistakes. Then the truth is this, when it comes to operational excellence in business, you have to set your standard from day one. Set your standard from day one. Last week, we talked about personal branding. And let me tell you what personal branding does. It sets you aside and it lets people know that, oh, this is what this person is made of. So when people say, for example, who is Oluwafemi Akpata? When people say, who is Shola Lindsay? When people say, who is Isaac Adeoye? Let something comes to mind that, oh, this is what that person is all about. This is that person's standard. When somebody is doing a particular, job, a particular task, and they say, oh, this work that this person is doing, who is on it? And you say, oh, it's Zita that is on it. Oh, Zita. Once it's Zita, there cannot be error. But if they say, who is on it? And they say, is I know is on it. Problem to I know it's one on that work. You will correct, you will correct, you will correct, and correct, and correct. So I wanted to ask yourself today, and the question I want you to ask yourself is this. When my name is being mentioned, what comes to people's mind? Either in your house, either at work, either in your church, either in your team, either in your circle. That when they say Priscilla, what comes to mind? When they say Prince, what comes to mind? When they say Adams, what comes to mind? What standard have you laid, either as an individual or as a business? The reason is because when you set the standard from day one, right, it makes expectations and timelines explicit at every point in time. And I will give you a typical example. For some of you that know me, you know that Adeyinka doesn't associate herself with failures. You know that I don't associate myself with something that can tarnish my image. When it's not excellence, it is not me. When it's substandard, it is not me. Oh, is Adeyinka very strict? Absolutely. Is Adeyinka a no-nonsense person? Absolutely. Everybody knows that that is the standard that I have set. Again, in my work, if you want it substandard or very cheap so that you can afford it and the work is not good, that is not where you will find Adeyinka. That is my standard. Are we together? So when it comes to operational excellence, document the standard before you scale the team, because there must be a reference point. I was giving you an example the other time that in school, when you score 18/20, they will say excellence. There is a standard. Also in the university, When you score 70 and above, for universities using the grade 5 system, they say, oh, that's 5.0, that is A. When you score 60, that is B. That is the standard. So what standard have you laid in place for your team? What standard have you laid in place for yourself as an individual? When a task is given to you, how do you ensure that you do that task without error? Also, you must fix the root causes, not just the visible symptom. You know, we live in a world where everybody just wants to solve a problem. Nobody wants to know what the root cause is. Nobody wants to know what's the root problem. And until you solve that root problem, the problem will continue to occur. So excellence is never an accident. Excellence is not by chance. Excellence is basically the result of high intention and consistent execution. Are we together? Then, how do you now build a system that can scale? How do you build a system that can achieve operational excellence? The truth is, consistency comes from systems, not memory. When you are doing a task, document everything. Let there be a system, not putting it in your head and say, so today is Monday now. Once it's Tuesday, I'm going to Akpompo. Once it's Wednesday, I'm going to Ribanwa. Once it's Thursday, I'm going to Dangote Refinery. Once it's Friday, you're committing everything to your head. Why not document everything? Also, map your core process before trying to improve them. Automate or template repeatable tasks whenever possible, and assign clear ownership for every step, not just every project. Are we together? And the truth is, I said something earlier that I'll be deceiving you if I say to achieve operational excellence is quite easy. It's not quite easy, but it's doable. You just need to be intentional about it. So how do you handle delivery breakdowns? Because the truth is, I said something earlier. I said, for a business to be successful, for a business to attain that operational excellence, we have the people and we have the process. You know that adage that if you want to go far, I can't remember how they put it. If you want to go far, go alone. Or if you want to go further or something, go with people. So people is germane to any business that wants to be successful. But there will be breakdowns. How do you handle it? And what are the common breakdowns? So many times we give ourselves timelines. We say, okay, this thing, I'm going to do it by, today is 24th of August, and we give ourselves timelines and say, okay, by the 31st of August, I'm going to do this thing. But we are human. A lot of things can happen before that time that will prevent us from achieving that thing by the 31st of August this year. When that happens, are you going to eat your head on the wall? No. All you need to do is, oh, we missed the deadline again. Yes. Why did we miss the deadline? What are we going to put in place to ensure that we don't miss the deadline again? I've said it several times before, that it's okay to quit. It's okay to fail, but it's not okay to quit. So when you miss a deadline, don't quit because you have missed a deadline. Put yourself back in the race and continue. Are we together? Also, another common breakdown is this. The client received the wrong deliverable. The client received the wrong message. Oh, no one told me this has changed. We keep fixing the same problem. These are the common mistakes that we are going to experience in our personal branding life and in our businesses. How do we then face it? I tell my mentees all the time that when problems comes, you are going to chest it. Chest the problem. While chesting it, then you solve the problem. Don't run away from problems. Problems gives us experience. Problems make us stronger. What should your response be? Right? When you miss deadline, what do? Address the process gap, not just the individual. Why did we miss this deadline? what should we have done better? When the client received the wrong deliverable, trace the breakdown to its root cause. What happened? Is it that the person that is supposed to dispatch the goods missed it or what? Trace what the problem is. That is the only way you won't have a reoccurrence. Then when you hear things like, no one told me that it has changed, fix the handoff or checkpoints that fail so that it doesn't occur. Then build a safeguard so that it can't repeat itself again. You see, in every organization, there are loopholes. And, some organizations have been so blessed, I would say blessed, right, that the loopholes have become very, very minute. A lot, of businesses are still battling with it. The same thing with our personal self. Some of us also have loopholes. The only way we will know that, or the only way we can solve that loophole or solve that problem, is when we acknowledge the fact that, I didn't have a problem, there's a problem. When you identify that there is a problem, to solve it will be very easy. But when you tell yourself things like, I don't have a problem, everything is fine, I'm okay the way I am, it will be very difficult for that problem to be solved. It's very difficult for even people to help you. So how do you close the loop every time? When it comes to operational excellence, the very first thing is confirm delivery meets the standard before it reaches the client. Again, you must close the loop internally, not just externally. Consistency in execution builds a reputation no marketing can buy. I've said this so many times that, when you advertise yourself, you market yourself, and at the end of the day, they give you the job and you don't do the job well, the first time, the second time, the third time, if you like, pay 1 billion on advertisement. If you like, pay 1 billion on adverts. You can deceive new people. But those people that you've worked with, they will say this person is a yao person. So anywhere you find yourself today, as an individual, as an employee, as a business owner, as an aspiring business owner, what are you putting in? The truth is this: what gets expected gets respected and delivered. When you inspect yourself, you see, there's something I do all the time. I sit down, I bring a paper and a biro, and I say, Adeyinka, write the things you like about yourself. I'll write it down. Then again, I say, write the things you don't like about yourself. And immediately I become very sober, even in my countenance. And I start writing, and I start writing, and I start writing. And it will get to a point, and I will now say, Adeyinka, these are the things you don't like about yourself. Well, what will you do? And guess the things I do? I look at the list I wrote last time. Averagely, I do this every quarter. I do this 4 times a year. I go back to the ones I wrote three months ago. And I say, okay, you wrote that you don't like these things about yourself 3 months ago. But you put it side by side. Let's assume I wrote 10 30 months ago. And I wrote 8. All of a sudden, I start smiling and I'm happy that, Adeyinka, you made progress. You're working on your flaws. Are we together? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can hear me, let me see your reaction.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Let's look at busy teams. So some people will tell you, I'm very busy. You know, for Mr. Denka, I'm like that because I'm very busy. You are not like that because you are very busy. You are like that because you are a bad person. Are we together? So, please, can you mute yourself? Busy teams feel productive, high-performing teams deliver consistent results. Admin, please, can you mute everyone? Thank you. So busy teams feel productive, high-performing teams deliver consistent results. Now, let me tell you something real quick. A few years ago when I was, doing my 8 to 5, I used to have a close friend that was our HR. She coined the phrase. And that phrase, she used to say, all of you, busy doing nothing, busy doing nothing. So what that means is that you can be busy and yet you are not achieving anything. So while you are busy, what are you using that your time to do? I said something earlier. I said excellence is measured by outcomes, not activity. And even if you look at the stories in the Bible, it's about your results. It's not about, oh, I wanted to, mommy, and I wanted to come out with first class. So I wanted to, but you did not. Mommy, I wanted to score 70 over 100, but you did not. So excellence and success is about the outcomes, not about the activity. How can you then turn your performance, how can you turn your process into a performance engine? Let me tell you something very quickly. For you to be successful in life, it requires a lot of work. Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, there is one hope somewhere. You need to put in the work. And that work doesn't start from your hand. That work starts from your head. That work starts from telling yourself that, you know what? I don't want to labor in vain. You know what? I don't want to be a slave to my fellow human beings. You know what? I don't want to bear. The people that are in high places, they don't have two heads. They have one head. They have two hands like me, and they have mind like me. And I'm going to put in the work. Are we together? But if you sit down somewhere and say, help will come from above, help will come from somebody, help will come from the, you are deceiving yourself, because that person that wants to help you also has his or her own problems. And again, let me tell you something. God rewards hard work. It is what you have done that God will multiply. So if you do 0, God will multiply it by 0. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. Are we together? So if you do 1, God will multiply it by 1. You will get the answer. If you do 50, God will multiply it by 50. You get the answer. So everything starts from you, yourself. You are the only person that can help yourself. Are we together? So how do you then turn processes into a performance engine? The very first thing is you review your performance data regularly, not only when something breaks. So many times sit down and ask yourself, my last month's salary, how did I spend it? What did I use it for? From this salary, how much did I invest? Then you must also standardize what works before you try to scale it. And you must share operational wins to reinforce the standard across businesses. And as we wrap up this class today, how do we ensure quality assurance and continuous improvement? Because the truth is, the job is not done when the deliverable ships. The job is a continuous thing. So capture what worked and what didn't work. So when you are doing something and that thing is not yielding for you, ask yourself, maybe this is not the right path. Let me see how I can change it. Let me see how I can rejig it. Don't spend too much time on what is not moving forward or what is not progressing. And when we talk about pitfalls, when we talk about operations, what are the common pitfalls in operations? Are we together? The very first thing is treating customer complaints as one-off signals. A customer will come to you and complain about something, you'll be like, oh, their problem is too much. You forget that those customers are the ones paying your salary. You forget that those customers are the ones sustaining your business. You forget that without those customers, your business will not be in existence. Dangote is the richest black man today. You know why? Because of people like you and I, because we are patronizing him. If everybody decides to boycott all Dangote products, it's going to fall down from that high horse. So customer is a big deal when it comes to the sustenance or the sustainability of a business. So what should be your operational excellence action plan going forward? Number one, and take this very seriously, document your 3 most critical processes this month. The things you do, document 3 most critical processes this month. After that, set out a clear owner and timeline for every recurring task. And when you are done with that, build a simple feedback loop for every client delivery. Review one broken process and fix its root cause this quarter. Then share operational wins with a wider team every month or even every quarter. And what do I expect you to take away from this training today? If you are under the sound of my voice, take this very seriously when it comes to operational excellence, either in your business, either in your work, either in your personal self, either in your interpersonal relationship with one another. Have this in mind. Operational excellence is a consistent standard, not one single push. Number 2, customers experience your operations, not your intention. Number 3, systems and clear ownership prevent the same. Number 4, high-performance or high-performing businesses are built on repeatable, reviewed process. Are we together? So in all of it, when it comes to operational excellence and customer fulfillment, have it at the back of your mind. That is not the big thing. It is in those small, consistent outcomes of the effort that we put in place. I'll stop here for now. Any question? Any question from anyone?
Those ask questions. I can talk. Yes, sir. It's only about students who don't ask questions. So I want to ask a question.
Please go ahead, sir.
You have spoken with Ma?
Go ahead.
Ma?
Go ahead, sir.
You have spoken with Ma. You have spoken with Ma. We really appreciate Prophet Akpata. You have spoken with Ma. In all you have said, like one of your statements that if you want to move fast, go alone. All this, I believe so much in working with teams of serious-minded people. That's why
Yes.
I engage you to help me to train my people and to join in your teaching. People who are not ready to be taught are not ready to go far. And so the problem we are having in Africa, generally, especially in the church setting, people just come and collect from you. They are not ready to learn in the business world too. They are just coming to come and steal from you, how they can get it. But just like you said, up here is very important. So, man, what do you do with people that you want to help and they are not ready to be helped?
Okay. Thank you very much. You see, it starts from a mindset. I personally don't believe that there are people that don't want to be helped. You just need to give them a reason why they should help themselves. You see, The presentation matters. You see, when you tell a child that, you know what, I want you to go to school. I want you to go to school. I want you to be educated so that when you grow up, you will start working and you will help me. You will push me out of poverty. That child is not going to see any reason why he or she should go to school. But when you tell a child that my daughter, my son, I want you to go to school so that you can be an important person, so that nobody will rob you off, so that you will not beg, so that you will sustain yourself, so that you will cater for yourself. The mindset will then shift that what I am doing, I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for another person. So the only problem that we have in Africa, the problem that we have in Nigeria is that an average Nigerian thinks help is going to come either from government, help will come either from their parents, help will come either from one foundation somewhere, help will come from one church somewhere, help will come from one mentor somewhere. So everybody just sit down and they are waiting for that help. So what we are doing is to shift that orientation, that help is not coming from anywhere. Help is going to come from your head. Help is going to come from what you can do for yourself. It is when you take that move that you want to help yourself, that is when maybe help will not come here and there, here and there. But let me give you a typical example, right? We've been following the Tony Elumelu. I think my time is almost up. Stephen, please, I would stop quickly. I'll stop soon. Still, the Tony Elumelu issue, right? Tony Elumelu gives grants every year, gives grant to people, $5,000, $10,000. Even GTEx, they give grants. They don't give grants to numbskulls. They don't give grant to people that have nothing to offer. They give grant to people who are taking that bold step and they are off the ground. Then that grant comes in to help them. I don't want to give you a grant and say, okay, I will give you a grant. That grant, you go and learn how to sew clothes first. But when you are sewn, you have learned how to sew clothes and you come to me and say, Adeyinka, give me grant, I want to buy a machine. I know you have started something. So the mindset is about they understanding that nobody's going to come in to help them. They are going to help themselves. It is in that way that we can achieve greater results. Stephen.
Yes, ma'am. I'm with you, ma'am.
That will be all for me. Any more questions?
Do we have any questions, please?
Yes, please. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. Please,
Good afternoon.
Can I have, I only have the number, the last four points you gave about the 3 critical operations something. You highlighted 4 points. I was able to get the number 1 and number 4. Please, can you help me to rephrase on the 2 and 3?
Okay. I said
Number
the first
2 and
one
3.
is operational excellence is a consistent standard, not a single push. Did you get that one?
Yes, I did.
Number 2, customers experience your operations, not your intentions. Customers experience your operations, not your intentions.
Okay, got
Then
it.
the third one, systems and clear ownership. Systems and clear ownership prevent the same problem from repeating itself. I'll take that again. Systems and clear ownership prevent the same problems from repeating itself. And the last one is that high performance or high performing businesses are built on repeatable and reviewed processes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Any other question?
Thank you so much, man. Do we have any questions again?
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Right.
What steps can a student take when they want to venture into let's say real estate? What steps can a beginner or a student take in entering into that world?
Okay, thank you very much. I believe GTech staff are here. The very first step that a student or a beginner is to first understand that when it comes to real estate, you can never miss it. Is to be determined that this is the next step you want to do and start reading about it, start having mentors that can mentor you about it, start attending seminars, attending trainings, attending inspections, and having product knowledge that will enable you convince a customer about a product. Did you get that?
I did.
Thank you. Any other person?
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for the wonderful session. We really appreciate you. And I believe that most of us will get a lot from what you said today. Even I myself had to jot a lot of things, a lot of points from what you said. And I believe you gave value. Please, if you gave value, please type in the comment section value. I believe you gave value in this section. Value. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your team and all what you said. We believe that we put everything into practice about operational excellence. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. So we're up now because we have a lot to do. We have a mega inspection that is coming up tomorrow, and we are looking to see tomorrow. So we are preparing for that. Thank you much once again.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So we doesn't meet now. Okay, I think we have one question in the chat box. Okay, someone said, please. Okay. I think we have one question in the chat box, ma'am.
Okay, let me see. Okay, this question is from Darlington. He said, please, why are people into so many real estate companies? Yeah, the reason is simple. The reason is because an average customer wants to have options, right? So you can be in a company right now, and the product that the company is selling might be starting from 10 million to like 1 billion. But you are getting clients and they want products below 10 million. You wouldn't want to lose out on that client. So you also go and partner with a real estate company that sells something that is lower so that you can harness all those options. Again, you might partner with company A, and company A only does property on the island, or maybe Lekki alone. But your customers or your clients are saying, oh, we need property at Ekpe. So you have to then go and look for a real estate company that has properties at Ekpe. So these are, some of the reasons why realtors or agents sign up with several real estate companies. I hope I've answered your question.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am, I want to find out how you handle situations where you have a client. Most times when they request for properties, you would see them, they will tell you to that you should send in a lot of options to them. And there are times when you send up to like 6, you discover that some of them, they now come to an indecision in order for them to pick what they want. And you have some that they tell you they need something, but they are not really ready. So how would you be able to identify a customer that is really ready, not the one that is doing window shopping? Thank you.
Okay, so let me just quickly say this. This is just a one of part of several trainings that we've had in the past. I just realized that some people also needed to join. But the truth is this: there is one of my training that talks about the 4 categories of customers and how to identify time wasters. I might not be able to dwell more on this. If I have the opportunity to take you guys more time, next time I will talk on that. There are some customers that they are just window shopping. There are some customers that are not ready. There are some customers that are time wasters. You understand? So as you go on in your journey in real estate, there are trainings, there are classes you take that will help you know what to watch out for. However, to answer your question directly, this is my own style. When a customer comes to me and they ask me for the product, politely, I ask them for the budget and the purpose. The purpose is it for land banking or immediate development? That will help me know where to put them or where to market to them. Budget also let me know if they are serious or if they are not serious. If somebody tells me that, they need 1 plot of land at, for example, maybe Chevron Road, or let's say Ajah, and I say, what is their budget? And they tell me their budget is 2 million. I already know that that is not going to fly. Are we together? So once you tell me the location and the budget, I know how to tailor you. The moment you are giving me a budget that is lower than a location, I start canceling you, because then I know that you really need me to cancel you to let you know that this price will not get you a land in this area. If you get a land in this area with this price, it is 419. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for that, ma'am.
Sorry, just one. There are some clients.
My time is fast spent. I think GTEx has other programs. My time is fast spent. I'm just a guest speaker here. Steven, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We won't be taking any more questions again because of our time. We have some other things to actually do also. So thank you very much once again, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And let everyone of us, let's have a wonderful day, because we have something else to do now. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.